What is something that old people love that you don't understand? Oldie here. I worked for a Canadian clothing store called Marks. I used to point our new arrivals to my daughter to see if she liked them, and she would say, those are old people clothes. One day she came in, looked around, and said, you guys are starting to get some pretty good stuff. I laughed because nothing had really changed, and watched the expression on her face change as it slowly dawned on her. I'm a window cleaner and have a lot of elderly customers. Over the years I've found they love to be the first one to tell me one of the neighbors has died. To the point where if I say yeah, Thelma already let me know, they look genuinely disappointed and annoyed that they weren't the one to break the news to me. There is this weird type of traditional Vietnamese music my parents said that only old people like, and they could not stand it either. A decade later, and apparently they enjoy it. I await my turn in fear. Edit for those asking, it is CILNG. In my country Brazil, old people sit in front of their houses and do absolutely nothing for hours, just watching people and cars go by. This is more common for lower social class. For instance, my grandma and her friends gather every day at someone's door and just sit there until the night comes. They are retired. Watching the news constantly. Telling anyone who will listen about their various ailments. Look, I'm 57, so I'm ancient by Reddit standards. But I vowed early on that I will not become one of these oversharing old people. Fine china and silverware. It's pretty in the way anything made in bulk can be. It's expensive, has very little resale value, fragile as fuck, and virtually useless unless you're trying to impress another old person. Personal opinion, no hate. Sitting hours behind those slot machines. Bitching about everything on the Nextdoor app. Watching the news obsessively. My dad has crossed over into this territory, faced with tears of joy. Obsessed with the weather. My partner's grandmother house sat while we were away for a trip and made sure to record the weather details for us of every day we were gone. Telling you who died recently, famous or not famous. Oh my God, just sitting down in my recliner is glorious. Younger people may think I'm nuts, but I have so much stuff going on. It's nice to just sit down and relax. Walking around naked in the gym locker room. QVC. China, the plates and stuff. I don't get what the appeal is to have something you hardly use, that takes up a bunch of space, and yet functions literally the same as any other ordinary dish. Touching strangers' babies. Asking people when they're getting married and having kids. I'm 27 and it's incessant from my grandparents and mother. Old lady perms. Those types are about to die out, but I still see little blue-haired ladies out and about. I don't get it. They only wash their hair once a week and it just doesn't look good. They love to refuse to learn new things, insisting that they just can't. Working way over your scheduled hours for no pay. To show that you are a good hard-working person. They love asking me what I'm doing with my life, grinning face with smiling eyes. Now that I'm old, I just like to travel to places to look at the scenery. 20-year-old me would not understand the point of that at all. I've reached the tipping point. I love my hedge and some drunk kid fell in it. Big hole. Will take 4 years to grow back. This get off my lawn moment awakened the old in me. Televangelists. My pop's constantly checking his rain gauge XD. Going 35 miles per hour on the highway. Just stay off the damn highway, Margaret. You're actually making everything worse for everyone, and clearly you're in no rush. I'm 60 and my brother just told me I'm too nostalgic and need to quit complaining about the cost of things and glorifying the old days. He is absolutely right. Waking up early. Grandma, you are retired. Why would you not sleep in every day? Andre Ryu. Being assisted by young children means the world to them for some reason. Pertaining to who it applies. Absolutely insisting on driving knowing good and damn well they have no business doing so. Lost a friend to this in a horrific accident. Precious moments figurines. Facebook adding your own name to a comment like great photos, love Mum and John. I fucking know it's you Maureen, it shows me or when you comment. Liver and onions. Everyone who learned to drive before GPS still love having in-depth conversations about alternative routes, even if they now use their phone's maps and can see all the different options and about how long each would take. Hard candies. IDK, but I can't wait to be old and tell everyone what a whore I used to be. I'm in my mid-40s. I'll be the ghost of Christmas future to some of you. Ready? I had many of these same complaints in my teenage years. Things like music. Life gets weird when music you listen to in your youth ends up on the oldies station. Many of these things will happen to you, but you won't believe me for another 20 years minimum. Food encased in gelatin. Keeping the room really, really warm. Being so nosy and concerned with how other people are living their lives when it has absolutely no effect on the quality of their own. Watching TV. I'm 28 years old and I feel like there's nothing for people my age on TV. It's boring AF. 2 spaces after periods when typing. Grapefruit. Soap operas. I get bored after 30 minutes. How does someone watch 500 episodes? Big vehicles. Carpet in every room, including the bathrooms. To leave their shopping carts in the middle of the parking lot and then call millennials lazy. Writing checks in the supermarket line. Blaming the youth for the problems that their generation created. Cutting down every tree on their property right before they die. I mean cutting down the trees before the people die or move into a retirement care home. I'd love to know what you consider old. I guess it's relative. You may consider me old at 53, where old to me is now like 70. And I guess I don't understand why that group of old people love game shows so much. Anyway, I've got to take my medicine and prune juice before sitting down in the shower. Then it's chair yoga and bingo for the remainder of the day. Got to get dinner before 4 p.m. so I can get to bed by 6 p.m. Later, youngsters of Reddit. Those porcelain plates on the wall. When I was a kid, all the adults around me loved black licorice. I hated it and thought I would rather eat my own shoes than eat black licorice. I figured that it was a grown-up thing and that I would start to like it when I grew up. Grew up and would still rather eat my shoes. Telling us what they used to call Brazil nuts. Rum raisin ice cream. Yard work. I hate it. Bingo. Lawrence Welk. I used to work at a PBS station and had to see it every week. Occasionally they would show older BW clips from the 50s 60s and they were sponsored by Geritol. This show was targeted at old people 60-70 years ago. Where have all the new old people come from that love this so much? Waking up at like 3 in the morning and wide awake. Going to the supermarket every day and come back with only one item so that the next morning they can go again. Waking up at 6 a.m. to do nothing, not even get breakfast. Asian kid growing up with grandparents using Eagle brand green ointment like it's cologne. Never understood it. Now that I'm older, every muscles hurts after hitting 30. And I'm using the ointment like it's holy water, smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat. Using ellipsis everywhere. I work at a dollar store and a lot of them buy prune juice and I'd like to know why. Farting openly without any shame or